If you keep telling yourself, I'll just do it myself when it comes to growing your business, this video might sting a bit. I went full-time into business in January 2025. I had zero corporate marketing experience and I had no degree in marketing whatsoever. 1 year later, I finished my first calendar year at £40,000 in revenue, and this January just gone, I made a record revenue of 9.5k in the month. And that's not intended to be a flex, but more a demonstration of what has been possible for me when I decided to make one crucial decision at the start of business that I'm now starting to see compounding returns on. From day one, I set a non-negotiable. There will always be money coming out of my account that will invest in myself or my business or both. And that has looked like hiring a coach to learn lead generation, working with someone to productize my ghostwriting offer, paying a therapist to help me work through my own limiting beliefs and deliver the ghostwriting offer, and later hiring a mentor who helped me turn my ghostwriting system into a consultancy. And on top of that, I've outsourced tasks like accountancy and video editing to genuinely talented people along the way. Shout out Kyle and Pratik. And I know that the numbers I've hit would not have been possible without them, right? I had no corporate marketing experience and no formal training in it. Every single one of these people has either walked the path I've wanted to walk or done things and achieved things that I wanted to do and achieve. They've helped me avoid mistakes that I didn't even know existed, right? And yes, I probably would have got there on my own eventually, but God knows how long that would have taken, and God knows how much stress that would have been. And in my opinion, life's too short to do things extra long and extra stressful. Like, seriously. What's the point? So many founders and freelancers I speak to say the same thing. I know I should invest in my growth, but I just can't bring myself to do it. Because logically you're thinking like, I could do this myself. I could learn how to generate more leads myself. I could learn how to do sales myself, right? Like, of course. We live in the age of information. Everything is online right now. Everything is on YouTube. Everything is a course. Everything is free. Well, I mean, knowledge is free. So surely it just comes down to time and discipline, right? Well, from what I've learned over the past 12 months with this mindset of, I'll just do this myself, it usually comes down to three things, right? Money, trust, and identity. And in this video, I'm going to talk about each of these three things and see if I can help you unlearn anything that's stopping you from outsourcing help and hitting your revenue goals faster. So money, let's start with the most obvious one of money, right? Most people try to DIY their growth because it feels like the cheaper option. And, you know, to an extent that's true, right? I mean, you can either pay someone thousands for a specific product or service, or you can do it yourself for free. So it seems like a no-brainer. But the free option isn't really free at all. Because to generate leads and close sales consistently, you need to craft an offer, define your ideal client, conduct market research, choose the right marketing channel, optimize your profile or landing page, do outreach that doesn't suck, create content that actually converts, hold sales calls, handle objections. And that's before you even get good at any of it. Learning all of that and executing it consistently takes an enormous amount of time, especially if you're gunning for something like a 10K month every month, right? And every hour you spend trying to figure this thing out from scratch is an hour you could have spent executing a proven system built by someone already where you want to be. Trading your time feels like the smart thing to do, but time is actually the one thing that we will never get more of. There will always be more money. And ironically, when you invest your money into a service provider with something like lead generation or sales or whatever the case may be, it compounds the amount of money you actually have. There's a very much a chicken and egg situation with something like lead generation, but the fact of the matter is, in order to achieve the revenue you want, you typically have to spend money first. All right, that was money. Let's talk about trust. Trust is a particularly difficult one to overcome, right? Can this person actually deliver what I want? Can this person actually create a result? Do I want to hand over my business growth to somebody else? Wouldn't it just be better if I did it? Is this even going to work for me, right? I hear these things all the time. I've actually felt some of these things myself as well. They're all totally valid concerns. They're all totally valid questions to be asking yourself, right? Especially at the start of business. But the truth is they hold you back. Our brains are wired to survive, not to thrive, right? So anything that's generally out of our comfort zone tends to get flagged, and it makes us feel uneasy because, well, we're scared of it, right? We're scared of something unknown. I'd actually argue that To an extent, getting burned in business, to an extent, is probably good for most of us, right? In the same way that having our heart broken is generally pretty good for us, right? At least once in life. It enhances your perception, it makes you more decisive, and generally you just learn faster through wanting to avoid the same pain again in the future, right? Like, it gives you that awareness, it removes any naivety. When it comes to investing in your business's growth, I think that avoiding decisions that require trust early on just makes it harder the longer you go on. And the longer you delay learning how to assess trust properly, the harder it becomes to make decisive moves later. Ultimately, you're trying to eliminate risk, and you just can't eliminate risk. That isn't business, that isn't life. Risk is all part of it. Someone told me a saying recently that if you want to live life without risk, then you shouldn't have stairs in your house. Risk is everywhere. It's just about being able to manage it intelligently, right? By not investing in a solution that could help your business grow, that is a risk in and of itself, right? You're risking slower growth, losing out to competitors, wasting a bunch of time and money trying to figure things out by yourself. That's also a risk. So when it comes to things like trust, my advice is to do your due diligence, yeah? Make sure you fully understand their offer, fully understand the deliverables, what you're going to get out of it, if you think that they can actually deliver a result before paying any money. But I would also advise you to try not to close yourself off from the world, right? Like, there are so many experts across so many different disciplines, like even beyond things like lead generation and sales. People train, people have solid businesses doing and solving problems that you are currently facing. Like, the experts out there exist, right? Business becomes 10 times easier when you start outsourcing and delegating tasks to other people, which brings me on to the third point of identity. Running a business is sadly one of those things where like hustle and glorifying doing things on your own is like really normalized. You're surrounded by other hustlers who seem to be doing things by themselves, and like you become so engrossed in your business day in, day out that it kind of becomes part of your identity, right? It becomes part of you. And you start internalizing the belief that like, I should be able to do everything myself. One, because everybody else is, which they're not. And two, this is my business. I should know how to do everything. I should know how to figure this all out, right? And this is especially true for my audience of service-based founders, because you are the business. Your intellectual property is the business, right? So this idea of identity becomes even more ingrained. You take on this identity of the scrappy founder who does everything alone, or the freelancer who doesn't need anyone's help, right? And you end up believing your self-worth is tied to suffering or effort. Competence is about doing everything alone. Your struggle is the same thing as legitimacy, and it's lazy to pay for help, right? Because I should be able to do all this. It's everywhere. It's around me. I should know how. And one of the biggest ones, I've felt this, right? And I feel this still sometimes. Outsourcing feels like you're cheating or that you haven't earned it yet. I'm here to tell you that this isn't true, okay? What ends up happening when you try to do everything yourself is you end up trying to divide yourself across all of these things that are not your zone of genius, right? You dilute your effort, your attention, your energy to all of these different things that you end up not being able to excel or do anything super well at all because you're doing everything kind of averagely. Then you end up going slower. You make mistakes with tasks that don't come naturally to you. Then you're feeding this narrative that you're incompetent and that you should be able to figure this all out alone, right? And then it just becomes this massive cycle. But look, I'm not saying that it's easy, because letting go of I did this alone means letting go of an identity that you've potentially been reinforcing for years, right? I mean, at least I did. I come from hospitality in the UK. I come from restaurants, right? And as much as that might be perceived as a team sport, quite often you're kind of left to your own devices with the amount of, hours being cut and being left in a 50-pack section on your own, right? Like, it very much is a gritty, resilient industry that forces you to figure shit out on your own. And so holding this belief that I had to figure things out on my own, right? Holding this belief that I've come into the marketing world without any experience, and kind of using that in some ways as a badge of honor, and not wanting to rely on other people for help. I had to let go of that shit really quickly, right? Because I know that it wasn't going to serve me. I know that I wasn't going to get where I wanted to get. And I think a big part of it for me came down to ego as well, right? Like, I enjoyed the identity that I was new and that like I was figuring things all out on my own. But very quickly I realized that that was going to be a slow ticket to my desired reality, right? So I had to cut that shit out and start asking for help. And, you know, in hospitality, when you ask for help, sometimes you might be perceived as like, oh, you can't handle it. And that's certainly not the identity that I wanted to have. So sometimes it's easy just to get on with it, but it's not serving you. Outsourcing isn't cheating, right? It doesn't make you any less of a founder, freelancer, entrepreneur, right? If anything, it makes you a savvier one. You can go from I have to do everything to who do I put in the right seats to help me grow, to help me expand this business? Or you go from my struggle is what makes me legit, which was me, to leveraging the talents of other people is what will make this sustainable. And I would rather have a sustainable business that makes me happy than one that makes me miserable and feel like I have to grind for it. Being a competent founder or freelancer is about understanding that you are truly exceptional in 1 to 2 core tasks that really move the needle, right? So double down on them and let other people double down on their zones of genius too. And, you know, let's put it this way. If I tried to edit my own videos, we would be on some Windows Movie Maker type shit. Like this would be bad. This would be really bad. And I don't think anyone would watch them. So if you're currently stuck below £10,000 a month or whatever revenue marker you want to get to per month, ask yourself, am I being held back by money, trust, or identity? Or something different, or a combination of the three? Like, I'd really love to know, what is it that's actually really holding you back? And is it rooted in logic, or is it rooted in emotion? Is it rooted on a previous past experience, or is it rooted in the possibility of what could happen in the future, right? I really hope that if you struggle with any of these, that this video is helpful for you, and it can help you realize that maybe by trying to do everything alone, you're costing yourself in time, money, probably sanity, and maybe even hair, right? Like, life's too short to struggle towards a goal alone. If people have already walked the walk and talked the talk and have the credentials to back it up, I think by not investing in your business is more of a disservice to you than a lot of people realize, right? You deserve to hit that next financial goal, and there are people out there equipped to help you get there. So I sincerely hope you found this video useful. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. I hope it wasn't too confrontational. This one was also confrontational for me to write because I also understand. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. See you later.